you. Okay, I'm done.
I'm a 14-year survivor.
Pardon?
I'm a 14-year survivor.
Well, congratulations. I am supposed to talk a little bit about myself. I'll try not to wander off into too many tangents. But I'd like to talk a little bit about my art, how I got into it. I really, and again, there are people here who are real artists in the industry or wherever. I consider myself an amateur. I painted a little bit when I was much younger, drawing in grade school, drawing Spanish galleons on those old line tablets. And then I stopped for a long time because I got into some athletics and spent about 50 years doing that until the knees started getting so tender about 15 years ago that I decided that I needed an alternative activity. And so I started taking drawing classes and painting again, then to try and get my eye back and try and relearn and go beyond the skills that I ever had when I was young. So I've been actually painting for about 15 years now. It's nice to be stuck in Pasadena. We have access to all this beautiful scenery. In Southern California or California, where you have access to all this beautiful scenery, I haven't had to go far, although I've done some workshops elsewhere over the last few years. Because of my particular situation, I have not been able to paint much over the last year. There's maybe one or two. So most of this stuff is a little bit older than that. And as you can see, when I started up again, I was doing figures and portraits. Now I'm doing, I've been emphasizing landscapes because that's what I've had access to, not because I would like to be making political statements or doing more portraits. One area that I would like to mention that has been helpful recently and helped me keep in it is there's a cancer support center in Pasadena where they actually have watercolor classes on Thursday mornings. And so I've been going in there, and I'd never really done any watercolor over the last 15 years, but it provided a place to try it and learn some new techniques, which interestingly, there's one thought that Mary suggested that I mention, is how my diagnosis has affected me. I think that just that experience in itself has broadened my appreciation for certain techniques. I can actually see some watercolor techniques now creeping into anything I do with oil. So there has been some feedback. I don't have too many comments on these, but I had a small little office type studio up in Sierra Madre and previously in Pasadena, where I could do I consider these things larger for me. I like to do big, but more recently I've had to work on smaller stuff. So these represent some of the stuff that I worked on in the studio. And some of you may recognize the bristlecone pine from the top of I think it's the White Mountains up by Death Valley. And the Great White Hut was a little hamburger stand in Glendale. Any questions? What I alluded to my particular situation. This is where the story gets a little complicated, and I may tend to wander off unnecessarily. But about 2.5 years ago, I began to detect an AFib condition, and I went and saw a heart doctor, and he started looking at my aorta, which was distended, and in the process found a lung cancer in my lung. And so I had the first surgery I had was actually 2 years ago that removed the upper right lobe of my lung, and things looked very optimistic. It looked like they had gotten it all, and there was no lymph nodes. It was stage 1A, and I was off. However, they still had to take care of my aorta, so I had heart surgery almost a year ago today, a little bit, in a couple days, and they did that was at Cedars actually. They did a repair of my ascending aorta, and I was feeling pretty good through all that, but after about 2 to 3 months after that, I began getting symptoms that I couldn't explain, and ultimately they did an MRI and found a tumor in my head. So I had brain surgery last year in May. They had incidentally also found in the process a tumor in my liver, so I had liver surgery at the beginning of August, at the very end of July in 2016, and I had a gamma knife procedure on the back of my head here, that's just down the hall. I think I'm lost. But so 2016 was not a happy year for me. It was a tough year, but I was recovering until a month or so ago, and then I started getting some of these sensations again. And unfortunately, I've got involvement of some kind again in 2 spots. So I'm currently I never had chemo in any of that. Everything was always contained, but I've had a little bit of chemo the last couple of weeks, and I'm about to start infusions tomorrow. So that's where I am. I'm experiencing some of the chemo effects rather strongly, and I'm sure a lot of people know what that's like. So
You're still here fighting.
Well, actually, this is my spouse, my wife, Paula. She's my primary caregiver and works her working her buns off to try and make sure I don't lose too much weight and have about 12 things to eat, so something's appetizing. But in any case, we had a discussion just the other day, about planning, and we had the story about looking ahead and planning for possibilities, and I kind of had a realization that I am a planner, but it's for me it's almost like one of my hobbies. We just do it, and so right now I'm planning, but it's mostly day to day. I'm in the day to day mode. I would like to do more painting. I have had a hard time having energy for the last couple of months, but I'd love to do portraits again. I want to do some more portraits, but I just have to get my energy levels up a little bit. Christina asked me for a portrait. She works at TMT. And I should mention that too. I've made some comments about TMT. If anybody has any questions, there are people here who know more than I do at this point in time. So getting back to to my approach to this whole thing, I think you'll find it probably a little bit different. Mary gave me the book on how to keep in contact with your doctor, how to involve your doctor in your treatment, and I think that book and that approach is very important, and especially important for me. My background is in engineering physics. I understand probability. I actually worked at Hughes Aircraft Company in the 60s on radiation effects in electronics, so I understand different kinds of radiation and what impact they can have, at least on materials. I don't understand the human body so much. So I am educationally prepared to be involved, probably more than most people. However, that also I make my oncologist laugh sometimes when I bring a graph in, an exponential curve, and saying, okay, if I had a 90% probability here, what's my probability here? that thing. So my approach has been much more evidence-based and trying to stay in touch with in contact with reality than in what I would call a new age approach. And by that I mean where everybody's opinion has equal validity. I'm looking for the evidence based approach. So, I think I mentioned how my diagnosis has influenced my relationship. I really haven't been able to do as much painting as I would like, but I have had the opportunity to have exposure to other things. And I would guess that if this chemotex effect, most of what I've done is sort of impressionistic, representational, but I may get into a little abstract here along the way.
Drive you oncologists a little bit wacky, huh?
And so, yeah, I mean, my health experiences over the last couple of years have drastically changed my life. This has been, you know, a changer, no question about it, and it clearly is for everybody. Okay, and so I think I just need to thank Paula for the support, Mary, Albert, and everyone else for coming down. And anybody that I didn't mention, I apologize. Next door neighbors. So thank you very much.
So we're here all afternoon, so just keep eating. And those of you who have to go, thank you for coming so much and supporting this program, and we hope to keep going. And if you want to be on an email list and hear about this, some of you are not, please contact me. I'm right here, and I will put you on it, and you'll find out.
And I will step out and talk about some of those paintings if
You
anybody's
want to go out
interested.
into that, right, into the hallway there. That would be
I
great.
can do that for anybody who wants to.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.